Picture this. You're standing in a room, eyes locked on someone who's been plotting your ruin. They've spread lies, twisted your words, and waited for the moment you'd crumble. Their smirk is smug, their words sharp, baiting you to lash out. And what do? You don't shout, you don't defend, you don't even flinch. Instead, you let a slow, deliberate smile spread across your face, not out of weakness, not out of fear, but because you're already 3 steps ahead in a game they don't even know they're playing. That smile, that unshakable calm, isn't just defiance. It's a weapon, honed in the quiet, sharper than any blade. Welcome to the art of silent power, where the loudest victories are won without a single word. Stay with me, because by the end of this journey you'll understand why silence isn't surrender, it's domination. What is it about silence that terrifies people? Why does a calm, composed gaze unsettle more than a raised voice? In a world that thrives on noise, on arguments, hashtags, and endless chatter, silence is an anomaly. It's a rebellion. It's the shadow that moves before the strike, the pause before the storm. Niccolò Machiavelli, the Renaissance master of power, understood this better than anyone. 500 years ago, he wrote in The Prince, "Men are so simple and so much inclined to obey immediate needs that a deceiver will never lack victims for his deceptions." But what he didn't say outright, yet practiced masterfully, was this: the deceiver's greatest weapon isn't words, it's the absence of them. Silence, wielded strategically, is the ultimate tool of control. It disarms, disorients, and dominates. And today, in a world louder than ever, it's a skill you can't afford to ignore. Section 1. The illusion of noise. We live in an age of relentless noise. Scroll through your phone and it's a cacophony of opinions, outrage, and oversharing. Social media platforms reward the loudest voices, the most dramatic clapbacks, the most viral rants. At work, colleagues compete to be heard, filling meetings with endless chatter to prove their worth. In personal life, we're told to speak our truth, to react instantly, to bare our souls for validation. But here's the hard truth. Noise is weakness. The loudest person in the room isn't the strongest. They're the most desperate. They're screaming for attention, for relevance, for control. And in their clamor, they reveal everything, their insecurities, their motives, their fragility. Machiavelli saw through this illusion centuries ago. In The Prince, he wrote, "Men judge generally more by the eye than by the hand, for everyone can see, but few can feel." People are distracted by what's visible, what's loud, what's immediate. They're swayed by appearances, not substance. In his time, the noisy were the courtiers shouting in royal halls, the generals boasting of victories, the rivals spreading rumors to gain favor. Today, they're the influencers chasing clout, the co-workers dominating Zoom calls, the trolls baiting fights online. But the game hasn't changed. Real power doesn't scream, it whispers. It moves in the shadows, unseen, unfelt, until the moment it strikes. Consider the Roman Senate, where orators like Cicero dazzled with rhetoric, yet men like Julius Caesar, who spoke less but acted decisively, shaped history. Caesar's restraint wasn't passivity, it was calculation. He let others exhaust themselves in debates while he maneuvered behind the scenes, building alliances, securing loyalty, and striking when the time was right. Fast forward to medieval courts, where kings and queens learned that a single, well-timed silence could shift the balance of power more than 1,000 words. A pause during a negotiation, a refusal to respond to an insult. These were weapons, wielded by those who understood that noise betrays, but silence conceals. In our modern world, this principle holds true. Think about corporate boardrooms, where the loudest voices often belong to those scrambling for approval, while the quiet ones, The CEOs, the visionaries, command attention without effort. Or social media, where the impulse to respond to every critic, every slight, traps people in cycles of reactivity. The influencer who argues with trolls loses credibility. The one who ignores them and keeps creating rises above. Noise is a trap designed to keep you distracted, reactive, and weak. Machiavelli knew this, and he exploited it. His advice: let others shout while you strategize. Let them expose their cards while you hold yours close. Because in the game of power, the one who speaks least controls most. This isn't just philosophy. It's survival. In a world that equates volume with strength, choosing silence is revolutionary. It's a refusal to play by rules that favor the impulsive, the emotional, the insecure. But to wield silence effectively, you need to understand its forms, its purposes, and its power. That's what we're diving into next. The three faces of strategic silence, each a blade in your arsenal, each a lesson from Machiavelli himself. Section 2. Redefining Silence. Let's shatter a myth. Silence is not weakness. It's not passivity, not surrender, not a lack of something to say. Silence is a choice, a strategy, a weapon forged in the quiet. It's the pause that shifts the battlefield, the calm that unnerves the enemy, the restraint that builds empires. Machiavelli didn't just understand silence, he mastered it. In his writings, his diplomacy, his very life, he showed that silence is power's sharpest edge. To wield it, you need to know its three forms: the silence of observation, the silence of authority, and the silence of retaliation. Each is a tool, each a move in the chess game of power, and each can transform how you navigate the world. First, let's talk about what silence isn't. It's not the awkward pause of someone unprepared, nor the sullen retreat of someone defeated. Strategic silence is deliberate, calculated, and purposeful. It's the decision to hold back when others rush forward, to listen when others speak, to wait when others act. It's the chessboard in the dark where you see every piece while your opponent stumbles. Machiavelli practiced this in Florence's cutthroat political scene, where a misplaced word could mean exile or death. He listened, he watched, he waited, and when he acted, it was with devastating precision. The silence of observation is about gathering intelligence. When you're silent, you're not just hearing words, you're reading subtext. You see the flicker of doubt in a rival's eyes, the forced confidence in their voice, the motives hidden behind their flattery. Silence turns you into a mirror, reflecting others' truths back at them while revealing nothing of your own. The silence of authority is about presence. It's the weight of saying less, letting your actions, your reputation, your very existence speak for you. A leader who speaks sparingly commands respect. Their words carry the force of rarity. Finally, the silence of retaliation is the most lethal. It's the refusal to react when provoked, the denial of validation to those who attack you. It's letting your enemy's own momentum destroy them while you stand untouched. These three silences aren't just tactics, they're a mindset. They require discipline, self-control, and a deep understanding of human nature. Machiavelli knew that people are driven by ego, fear, and the need for validation. By mastering silence, you exploit these drives, turning others' weaknesses into your strength. Over the next sections, we'll dive deep into each form, exploring how to wield them, why they work, and how they've shaped history and the modern world. Because once you understand silence, you'll never see power the same way again. Section 3. Silence as observation. The first face of silence is observation, and it's the foundation of all power. When you choose to be silent, you're not just withholding words, you're opening a window into others' minds. You're collecting data, mapping motives, spotting weaknesses. In a world where everyone is eager to speak, to be seen, to be heard, The silent observer is the one who sees through the noise. Machiavelli was a master of this. In Florence's political councils, while others debated and boasted, he listened. He noted who aligned with whom, who bristled at criticism, who betrayed their fears with a nervous laugh. When he finally spoke, his words cut like a scalpel, precise and devastating, because he'd already mapped the battlefield. This principle is ancient. Sun Tzu, in The Art of War, wrote, "All warfare is based on deception." But deception isn't just about lying, it's about controlling what others perceive. Silence is the ultimate deception, because it reveals nothing while inviting others to fill the void. They project their assumptions, their fears, their desires onto you, and in doing so, they expose themselves. Cleopatra, the Queen of Egypt, wielded this silence to conquer Rome's mightiest men. While her rivals boasted of wealth or armies, she observed. She studied Julius Caesar's ambitions, Mark Antony's passions, and tailored her approach to each. Her silence wasn't empty, it was a canvas painted with the desires of those she sought to influence. In the modern world, this tactic is just as potent. Take Satya Nadella, Microsoft's CEO, known for his quiet demeanor. When he took over a struggling company in 2014, he didn't rush to make bold proclamations. He listened to employees, customers, competitors. He observed the tech landscape, identifying trends others missed. When he acted, shifting Microsoft toward cloud computing, it wasn't with fanfare but with results. Today, Microsoft's market value rivals, Apple's and Nadella's silence was the foundation of that turnaround. How do you apply this? At work, when a colleague criticizes your idea, don't leap to defend. Listen. What's driving their critique? Ego? Insecurity? Ambition? In negotiations, let the other side talk first. Their words will reveal their priorities, their limits, their fears. In personal relationships, when a friend or partner lashes out, pause. Their anger often says more about them than you. Silence gives you clarity, and clarity is power. But observation isn't just about seeing, it's about timing. Machiavelli advised, "The wise man does at once what the fool does at last." Silence lets you choose the perfect moment to act, when your opponent is overextended, exposed, or distracted. It's the predator's pause before the strike, the general's calm before the ambush. Practice this. Next time you're in a heated discussion, count to 5 before responding. Watch how the room shifts, how others fill the silence with their own uncertainties. You'll be amazed at what you learn when you stop talking and start seeing. Section 4. Silence as authority. The second face of silence is authority, and it's the mark of true power. Picture a high-stakes meeting. Voices clash, ideas compete, egos flare. Then one person leans back, says nothing, and yet their presence dominates. Why? Because silence commands respect. It says, "I don't need to prove myself. My existence is enough." Machiavelli understood this. In The Prince, he advised rulers to speak sparingly, to let their actions and reputation do the talking. Words are cheap, silence is rare, and rarity breeds value. History is full of leaders who wielded this silence. Queen Elizabeth I of England faced a court of scheming nobles and foreign envoys, all vying for influence. She often responded to their demands with silence, a pause, a raised eyebrow, a cryptic smile. That silence forced others to guess her intentions, to tread carefully, to respect her power. Abraham Lincoln, too, used silence to lead. Mocked by rivals and criticized by allies, he rarely lashed out. Instead, he appointed his loudest detractors to his cabinet, giving them responsibility while neutralizing their attacks. His silence wasn't weakness, it was mastery. In the modern world, this translates to every sphere of life. Angela Merkel, Germany's former chancellor, was known as the Quiet German. In EU summits, while others argued, she listened, her silence a signal of her authority. When she spoke, her words carried the weight of deliberation, shaping Europe's policies for a decade. Or consider Beyoncé, who rarely engages with gossip or media frenzy. Her silence amplifies her mystique, making her every move, every album, every performance a cultural event. How do you wield this silence? In meetings, resist the urge to fill every pause. Let others scramble to speak while you observe. When you do speak, make it count. Be concise, clear, and impactful. On social media, don't rush to post or respond. A curated presence with fewer but more meaningful updates builds a stronger brand. In public speaking, embrace pauses. A well-timed silence draws the audience in, making your next words unforgettable. Authority through silence requires confidence. You must trust that your value doesn't depend on constant validation. This is hard in a culture that equates visibility with worth, but it's liberating. When you stop chasing attention, you start commanding it. Machiavelli wrote, "It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both." Silence achieves both. It inspires awe and keeps others guessing. Practice it and watch how the room shifts in your favor. Section 5. Silence as retaliation. The third face of silence is retaliation, and it's the most devastating. When someone attacks you, whether with words, betrayal, or sabotage, their goal is to provoke a reaction. They want your anger, your defense, your chaos. They crave validation, a sign that they matter in your world. By staying silent, you deny them that victory. You let their venom hang in the air, unanswered, while you move forward, untouched. Machiavelli put it best. Never interrupt your enemy when he is making a mistake. Silence is how you let them dig their own grave. This silence is a mirror, reflecting your enemy's hate back at them. It exposes their insecurity, their need for attention, their fragility. Gandhi mastered this during India's fight for independence. The British Empire used violence and humiliation to break him, but he responded with peaceful resistance, a silence that spoke louder than their weapons. His refusal to retaliate exposed the empire's moral decay, turning global opinion against them. In music, Taylor Swift uses this tactic brilliantly. When faced with public feuds or media attacks, she often stays silent, letting critics exhaust themselves. Then she responds not with words, but with art. Albums like Reputation that redefine the narrative on her terms. This isn't about ignoring your enemies, it's about outplaying them. When someone gossips about you, don't confront. Let their words fade while you succeed. When a coworker undermines you, don't argue, outshine them with results. When an online troll baits you, don't engage, let their rage burn out while you build. Silence as retaliation is strategic, not emotional. It's the calm of a general watching the enemy charge into a trap. Metaphorically, this silence is a storm that never breaks. Your enemies expect thunder, lightning, chaos. Instead, you give them stillness, and that stillness is terrifying. It says, "You can't touch me. You don't control me." It plants doubt. Why aren't they reacting? What are they planning? That doubt is your victory, because while they spiral, you're moving forward, building, thriving. How do you practice this? Start small. Next time someone insults you, pause. Don't respond immediately. Let their words hang. Let them feel the weight of their own attack. Then redirect your energy to your goals. If it's a workplace slight, focus on your next project. If it's a personal betrayal, invest in your growth. Silence as retaliation isn't about suppressing anger. It's about channeling it into something greater. As Machiavelli taught, true revenge isn't loud. It's the quiet rise that leaves your enemies irrelevant. Section 6. The Psychology of Silence. Why does silence work? Because it disrupts the human psyche. People are wired for interaction, for validation, for closure. When you withhold these, you create a vacuum that unsettles. Psychologically, silence triggers uncertainty, and uncertainty is power's ally. Your opponent wonders, why aren't they rattled? What do they know? This doubt erodes their confidence, shifts the dynamic, and gives you the upper hand. Studies on negotiation reveal this. In a 2018 study from the Journal of Applied Psychology, researchers found that strategic pauses during negotiations increased concessions from the other side. Why? Because silence creates discomfort, prompting others to fill the void, often revealing more than they intended. In conflict, silence starves the ego. Your attacker wants a reaction, anger, fear, justification. By denying it, you deny their relevance. They're left grappling with their own emotions, while you remain centered. Silence also preserves your energy. Every argument you avoid, every insult you ignore, is energy redirected toward your goals. Reactivity is a drain, restraint is a reservoir. Think of it like a battery. Every emotional outburst depletes you, while every moment of silence recharges you. This is why the most powerful people, CEOs, artists, leaders, seem unruffled. They've learned to conserve their energy for what matters: creation, strategy, legacy. This psychological edge is universal. In a family dispute, staying silent when provoked forces the other person to confront their own anger. In a corporate power struggle, refusing to engage with petty attacks signals confidence. Online, ignoring trolls deprives them of the attention they crave, rendering them powerless. Silence isn't just a tactic, it's a mindset, a way of reclaiming control over your emotions and your environment. Section 7. Historical and Modern Case Studies. Let's ground this in history and today's world. Start with Machiavelli himself. Exiled from Florence, slandered by rivals, he didn't lash out. He wrote The Prince, a silent retaliation that reshaped political thought for centuries. His silence wasn't defeat. It was a calculated return, proving his enemies wrong, not with arguments, but with a legacy. Nelson Mandela used silence to dismantle apartheid. Imprisoned for 27 years, he faced brutality and provocation, yet he responded with dignity, with restraint, with a silence that spoke of unbreakable resolve. When he emerged, his presence alone shifted South Africa's future, proving that silence can be louder than any speech. In business, Jeff Bezos exemplifies this. Early critics mocked Amazon as a doomed bookstore, laughed at Bezos's vision, even ridiculed his appearance. He didn't argue. He stayed silent, focused on innovation, and built a trillion-dollar empire. His silence was his strategy, letting results speak while detractors faded. In sports, Serena Williams faces constant scrutiny on her talent, her demeanor, her identity, yet she rarely engages with critics. Instead, she responds with championships, with records, with a legacy that silences doubters. Her silence isn't passive, it's a statement. I don't need to explain myself. My work does. These figures share a common thread. They turned silence into momentum. They let hate, criticism, and betrayal fuel their rise, not derail it. For you, this means every slight, every attack is an opportunity. Don't waste energy defending your worth. Let your consistency, your growth, your success be your response. Silence is how you turn adversaries into stepping stones. Section 8. Critiquing Modern Norms. Our culture worships noise. We're told to be transparent, to share every thought, to react instantly. Social media rewards oversharing. Workplaces demand constant communication. Relationships expect endless explanations. But this obsession is a trap. Constant chatter dilutes your power. Oversharing exposes your vulnerabilities. Reactivity hands your enemies ammunition. Machiavelli warned against this in The Prince. He who is too open with his plans will find them thwarted. Transparency is a liability when power is at stake. Consider social media. Posting every milestone, every struggle, invites scrutiny and envy. A single impulsive reply to a critic can spiral into a public feud, draining your energy and credibility. At work, over-explaining your ideas or defending your decisions signals insecurity. In personal life, justifying yourself to those who misunderstand you only deepens their control. The modern mantra of always be communicating keeps you reactive, distracted, and weak. Silence rebels against this. It's a refusal to play by rules designed to keep you exposed. By choosing when to speak, what to share, and who to engage, you reclaim your power. You become unpredictable, untouchable, a mystery others can't crack. This isn't about secrecy, it's about strategy. Machiavelli knew that power thrives in ambiguity, in the space between what's said and what's withheld. Embrace that space, and you'll find freedom. Section 9. Practical applications. So how do you wield silence in daily life? Let's break it down with scenarios and strategies. Workplace politics. A colleague undermines you in a meeting, dismissing your proposal. Don't argue. Smile, nod, and observe. Are they threatened by you, seeking attention? Later, present your idea with undeniable evidence, letting results silence them. Online trolls. A stranger attacks you on social media, baiting a response. Don't engage. Let their words fade while you post content that showcases your value. Your silence starves their ego. Your work builds your brand. Personal betrayal. A friend spreads rumors about you. Don't confront. Distance yourself. Invest in new relationships, pursue your goals, and let your success be your response. Their betrayal becomes irrelevant when you're thriving. Negotiations. In a salary discussion, let the employer make the first offer. Your silence pressures them to reveal their range, giving you leverage. If they lowball, pause before countering. Your restraint signals confidence. Public speaking. During a presentation, embrace pauses. After a key point, let silence linger. It draws the audience in, making your next words more impactful. These aren't just tactics. They're a way of life. Start small. Practice pausing before responding in conversations. Count to 3 when provoked. Redirect your energy from arguments to action. Over time, silence becomes second nature, a reflex that keeps you centered and powerful. Section 10. Call to action and closing. You've seen the power of silence, the blade that cuts without striking, the strategy that wins without fighting. Now it's your move. The next time someone baits you, don't bite. Smile, observe, building. Let their noise fade while your silence carves a legacy. This isn't about avoiding conflict. It's about mastering it. It's about living on your terms, unshaken by the chaos of others. Subscribe to dive deeper into the art of power in a noisy world. Share this with someone who needs to wield the silent blade, because in the game of life, the one who speaks least wins most. Machiavelli reminds us, the greatest victories are those your enemies never see coming. So go out there, stay quiet, and make them wonder what you're planning. Your silence is the blade that carves your destiny. Wield it wisely.